These are my feet. You've seen them before. Give me another video on the barefoot shoe, barefoot walking movement. I had just finished driving across the country again, 4 or 5 years in a row. And while I was at home at the Jersey Shore, I was pretty much barefoot most of the time or in flip flops. And if you know me, you know the story already. Sorry to be redundant. But I had problems with my feet ever since I was a kid. Corrective shoes. I was like Forrest Gump as a kid. And the doctors back then were just, it was all about wearing a shoe with a heel. Because the thing is, if you sit me down in a chair and you line my ankle, my first metatarsal, that's the joint, that big knuckle joint that your big toe's connected to. It's up in the air. So later it was orthotics and all that, which were never comfortable, and I still had issues. And I've had a lot of ankle issues, tearing ligaments and everything because of it. Surgeries, ligament reconstruction, all of it. So this barefoot shoe movement thing is something I've been hip to for a while. I started doing it. It was an experiment. And when I was home this time, barefoot, walking around barefoot, it was a fascinating thing that happened because my feet calloused in a way where the first metatarsal under the pad there never calloused, which means walking barefoot, my body was doing naturally what it should be doing when you're walking. There's 27 bones in one of your feet. Your feet are designed to flex and move and feel the earth or what's under you, and it sends a message up into your brain so you do the right thing when you're walking. So the whole barefoot shoe thing is the thinnest sole possible, no heel rise at all, and a wide toe box so your toes spread. So you've seen this video where I took the heel riser out of the insoles on these Keds, and these have been great. I've been hiking in them and everything else. And you got your standard flippity flops there. And this morning I'm trying to unload crap, right? So I've got a bunch of stuff. I got this old G.I. Joe collection up here and helmets from World War One, World War Two, and I'll be selling a bunch of stuff here, and I'm kind of just throwing things out, going through clothes. And under the bed, I pulled out all these old shoes I haven't worn in a while, mainly because they're uncomfortable. And this is what I was doing. I was making insoles with where I was gluing something underneath that first metatarsal. Now, when you're on the concrete all day and you're not really walking, you're just kind of standing around, this is comfortable, but again, it's not great. And here's something that most of you never do. Here's a pair of Vans. It's the sole. Just want to point this out to you. If I was to put my foot on this, which I'm doing, my foot is wider than the sole, right? That means your toes are just getting crammed in there. Pretty much every pair of shoes you buy does that. Every pair of shoes here does that. My old Danner work boots, another pair of Vans. This is a brand new pair. There's dust on them because they've been underneath the bed for a while. These New Balance are pretty good. They're not so bad. They're a lot wider. You can see this problem with my first metatarsal on my right foot. That was kind of arthritic, and over the last year and a half, I've been rehabbing that. I can actually flex it now, and it's although it is still painful, it's not as bad as it was, so I was able to start surfing again. But this is coming apart. That's a problem. Maybe I can glue that back on. Maybe I'll save this one pair. But this is all going to get thrown out, and it's a whole new thing for me now. Now, there are companies like Lems here. They make a barefoot shoe, zero rise, wide toe box. These are super comfortable. I went on eBay and I bought a couple pair that were used. This is a lightly worn pair. I like the look of these, but they're too small, and I wasn't sure what my European size would be. These are the 43. These are too small for me. I wear the 44, and it's funny. I have this old foot thing here. You remember these? So I'm basically coming in at a 10 here, and yeah. So I guess 44 works as the 10, but you can see on these, if you stand on them, that's it. So that's kind of what you're looking for there. If you got a size 9 or so and you want to buy these, give me a call. That's it. I just going through the shoes and just looking at how they really work on your feet. It's crazy. It's as if the people that make shoes are trying to make you unhealthy. Look at people's feet, big bunions and everything else. It's from cramming your toes into a tight space. What are you doing? What are we all doing? It's not good. Uh, there's these companies now making barefoot shoes. I would love to work with them on some designs because I've got some good ideas. The only problem I'm having with these companies is none of the stuff looks cool. The limbs are a little goofy looking. And I mean, you can't go wrong with an old pair of Pro Keds. They're classic. I found personally that the Keds so far, I bought some PF Flyers, Converse, Vans. The Keds have the widest toe box in my opinion so far. Um, if you're a barefoot shoe company looking at this ridiculous video, I've got some ideas. I got a barefoot work boot idea. Now, if you're on concrete all day, it would be nicer to have a little bit of a thicker sole, for a little bit of padding there. But you could still have a zero rise and a wide toe box. You could even make them with a steel toe for safety purposes. But think about it. Experiment for yourself. This was part of the trip. I knew I was going to do this. I've been doing it for a year where I've been wearing flip flops in the shop and everything else. I'm probably going to go to the Keds in the shop just because it's a little cleaner on the feet. My old Danners, they're still too narrow, which is a real bummer. And for years, you've seen me modify the Danners where I was taking the soles off and putting a thicker foam layer underneath the Vibram sole and putting cooler Vibram soles on them and everything else, but they were still squeezing my toes too much. It was actually giving me a big problem with that right foot with that first metatarsal joint. So now I'm almost completely pain free. I still have some. I'm flexing my foot right now. I don't have the full range of motion on my right toe that I do on the left. But doing the barefoot shoe thing and the flip flop thing has greatly improved my foot problems. And I'm healthier, no real back issues. All that stems from what's going on your feet. So, and even when you're hiking, those big, heavy hiking shoes, not great. Not great. U.S. Army did a study many, many years ago where they found, it was a mathematical thing, where the less weight you carried on your feet equated to more weight you could carry on your back for a longer period of time with less fatigue. It's kind of fascinating. So anyhow, something to think about. Take care of your feet, people. Everything comes from there.